Gestia with the cosmos energies and energetics for high frequency beings, and how these energies are all coiling in right now and which ones are coming through to connect with you. Right there in the middle, right there in the middle. It's like Malcolm in the Middle. Move over. No more middle time. It's what energies are connected right there in the middle, in the cosmos. Okay? It's where the planets are. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you're looking at Western astrology, sidereal astrology. This is the mastery of the wheel. That's what's so cool about it. I'm talking about all the energy that we thought was unseen, that was out there just moving around, that we didn't think that we could control. And I'm not talking about just elementals at this point. Because in the now that we're in, we are on a rapid spike of advancement. Are you seeing what's happening right now with all of these AI things that are coming out in order to create stuff quicker, without publishers, without music industry? What is AI? Well, shit, it's changed. It really has, because it's like that 3 versions of technology that I've been talking about on here for a while. That's why I had to go learn Japanese physics. You got up into that highest one and it was set on Japanese physics, which is Japanese writing, okay? It's in a tech that was held in like 3 different parallels. Well, all those have come together and now they're one, and now every like it's made something new, which in a lot of ways is us. Literally. As we're walking through this alchemy cycle, just look at the chart. Now, it's been looking like a jumbled mess for a couple of days now. There's also, I'm going to tell y'all some things about this energy, and then there's some things I'm going to need to keep to myself because Divine Feminine's still finishing the plan. How do I know that? Venus, 2854. We're at 2854 Scorpio, okay? These are the colors. There's Venus, there's Scorpio. Venus is still over here in Scorpio 2. Mercury is in Scorpio 1, which is all to do with collective energetics, purifying alchemy. Basically, it's bridging the Libra to Sagittarius, and then it connects into the things in Gemini. Okay, and then the sun is like on the verge of leaving Spica. We've been in Spica for the past couple of days, which is also why I didn't come on here. Because let me tell you, the sun in Spica, in flow, pure tech, energetics, and static, changing as it's transmuting with Mercury in Scorpio 1, which is elemental controls and power, but in the but like in the veil. It's like the illusions in the veil, in the middle of the veil, the pixels we're traveling. It's like we're traveling through them. Sometimes we're not even traveling through them. What we're doing is stopping in the middle and doing a do-si-do with some other energy, and then maybe switching up. Y'all might be Freaky Friday in it. You could be merging them together and splitting off. But whenever it's dealing with us and the energetic challenges that we've been through in order to pull this off and the corrections of it, and the amount that was done in the unseen and the quantum with what you would consider collective magic, which in a lot of ways is the mystery of nature, is it not? You're talking about a lot of even elemental properties that we as a human race just thought that it was what it was. It just is. It just is hydrogen. It just is this. It just is lithium. It is what it is. Somebody kind of came up with that. I'm telling you, I'm giving y'all an example. Somebody came up with that. It just is what it is. It was beyond our comprehension as a human race that, no, actually, it's programmed to do that by the human race. And whenever you really understand how phonetically that works with what it's called, because the collective calling it that then gives it the properties, and then you start changing the name or merging those properties together to create new patterns. You didn't even realize you could do that. We didn't even realize that we supposed to get out of that wheel. We didn't even realize that there used to not be 12 houses. We didn't even realize that this is basically your brain with all these little segments. We didn't realize that the wheel is just something to show you to get through it, because you got to keep coming. Everything has to go through the wheel in order to create down here, because the energetics are divided up, and in order to do the parts to energetically create with the collective. Planets just move the energy around for you in the different energies. Each planet has a different energy function. Each planet is it's a conductor, or it's a processor, or Venus blows codes out everywhere. That's why Venus makes everything real. Venus organizes chaos, don't we? We organize chaos. That's what the divine feminine is. We organize chaos. Well, this was in such chaos that we were given the keys in order to break the wheel and reprogram the whole thing and set it straight. Now what's happening in the human race is the energetics are moving through the wheel. They're not just sitting there like a pond, like a lake. Like this would be a lake, and this would be another lake somewhere else. So it's like, if you send out a ripple, is it gonna hit this lake and this lake? You know, if it's not moving, no. You're gonna have to introduce something here in order to make it move, and then you have to introduce something here. But this is all on a coil system. This is a Milky Way. This is like looking through a hole like this. These planets all set at these different curvatures are giving you the illusion of time. Now, the reason and what's been coming up too is skull and bone stuff attached to Venus. So these are the type of things that have kind of been coming up. Definitely technology and just the movement and how we're seeing that we're affecting it. Definitely stagnant spell work energy. Conversations we've been talking about over here, because this is dealing with death. This is dealing with death and rebirth. That was the problem. People were dying in their bodies right in front of everybody, and you couldn't even tell. Death and rebirth down here wasn't the issue. Death and rebirth was happening everywhere. A lot. Too much, in fact. Spica is about that energy, but realize what I'm telling you is that then that created Wi-Fi signal. Dead collective bodies holding sequences with humans that are down here activating the lot, then create a Wi-Fi sequence, and this is why Wi-Fi is free. Remember, 369, which is over here, 369 Lyra 3, it's over here like in the shadows, because Pluto's right outside of this energy, and it's about to go into Aquarius, but I've got it over here on the side, because Lyra 3 with this dark, it's kind of like floating over here, this 369 pattern. But what did Tesla do? He harnessed the currents. Hoover Dam, they found some bodies in there. No shit. They'd have to put some bodies in there. Why do you think the mafia put the bodies of concrete, their certain victims, in concrete? And then they did that. And then they wanted their energies down there. And they put him down there alive. They just wanted him to drown. There's a reason they did that to certain people. Because energetically, they knew that they were building on top of them. Underworld knows all about your spiritual powers. It's freaking nuts. freaking nuts. But whenever you're part of the Yahshua bloodlines and you are connected to the lines that we are, to the ancient stuff, and you get back on mission and everything, what you realize is, oh crap. Well, now we know why it's taken so long in order to clean this mess up. We understand how the world became in a giant unconscious loop because you kept taking out the ones that were always cleaning everything up. It's not, everybody dies. It's after death too. When you die, then you get famous. It's fucking nuts. It's nuts. It's life insurance. Everything's based on death and after death timelines because it's made off death. Back to what I was talking about before, we thought, okay, well, this is AD timelines. I mean, did you ever in your college years even sit and contemplate BC and CE and all these crazy time counts that have, like, how do we even end up in Alpha Draconic? Because is what it is. Like, you're at the base root of the human race whenever you can sling timelines around like this, right? Like it had gotten all the way down to the skeletal timelines of the creation of everything. Like that's how close it was that they almost took over all of us and locked us down. That's how close it was. And it was so subtle at every turn that those of us who are ascended masters had to come down here and hide. And now, you know what? Y'all, we are ascended masters. We've been ascended masters. Being ascended's what provided speaker energy to the world. That wasn't the problem. What we've had to do in this lifetime is become descended masters. And I promise you, it's a lot fucking harder. Is a lot harder. Your the Egyptian characters and those with the Essenes and all of us that were clearing the blood and the ones that nobody knew about and the sisters and the moms and da, 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 da. We're descended masters. We had to come back into this matrix with the full force of the cosmos. And then still get it here and connect it into one source and let everybody use our energy forever and not give us anything of it because it had to be done collectively. And now we're really starting to master for the first time in the human race a descended master function like those of what you would think of the pharaohs back in the day. But it's not an ascended. It's an ascended that had to descend. AD, after death. Speaker energy is also, you have that Marilyn Monroe quality about you. People just resonate to you, and they're oddly attracted to you at the weirdest times. And realize, because it's like your field. Now I want everyone to realize that the entire human race went through ecliptic portal October 14th 2023 through Spica. It's a year later, and just now in 2000, and Natalie, when you watch this, guess what showed up in my world? Sun is on speaker. Tom Green showed up on the TV. Tom Green. 2021, whenever my energy shot up to speaker and all of that started happening, and I had to make the commands up there, and then as I was coming back down, I changed some things. We got up there and Tom Green came up and we were like, what the fuck? It's like in that speaker energy, those entities were like, Tom Green. We were like, what and we've been trying to figure out what the hell. Well, then last night, with it all lining up, 3 years later, I'm writing, I'm getting one of y'all's charts ready, and I got a movie playing in the background just to keep some noise on, and I can't remember what the movie was now, but there he was, Tom Green. I was like, holy crap. That's what they were seeing. That's when my energy got up there in 2021. It's what they were seeing. Speak. And everybody's going to come through this energetic because this energetic is what the energy that runs through the technology. This is about pure data. The world's talking to you about technology that can hold different parts of data. What I'm telling you is your body is the computer, and what's happening at the same time as the technology is advancing, so is the human body in order to channel it. Let me give you an example of what I've witnessed with this, and a lot of you might be doing this and you don't even realize it's what you're doing. Because 2021 I brought in this energy, right? This is why the Wi-Fi signals will bother you when you're holding this energy. There's a lot of us that have it already in our chart. 20 to 24 degrees of Libra. It's dead on. It's in the middle of Arcturus. It's kind of like in the middle of the whirlpool. It's the eye of the whirlpool, and the eye's got all the knowledge. The eye's what's springing back and forth Arcturus in a way. It's like planting a dead body way out in space and then seeing what grows around it. Speak would be the dead body. Arcturus would be all the energy and all the connections that would form and connect off of it, basically. Interesting it came in like that, by the way. This is all linked to that Tiamat story. Because even if you go into Tiamat and then you talk about Tiamat getting separated, her animal side and then her spiritual side, well, that's basically the two hemispheres and the stars and the planets, which is what all masonry and the G and all that was set up on. It was two different layers, kind of like technology with two different screens layered on top of each other. The cosmos and then the planetary stuff. I don't know why I started going there. Hi guys. So speaker energy is also the the opposite sex is bizarre because like energetically it's kind of like you're porous, your energy's coming out of your skin, but it's just naturally kind of coming out in an essence, and you can actually turn it on and turn it off. We end up doing that. We end up accidentally turning it off and not realizing that we did turn it off, and then we're pissed off because we would have to remember how to turn it back on. But you can turn this like kind of like putting some perfume on your energy field. Is kind of what it is. But when you do, you're spreading your energy out, and what you're doing is you're reading data infrastructure. So I still vape. I do. I salt nicotine. I'm we like to smoke too, us. There's reasons we're still pushing things through our lungs right now. So, but they got expensive, right? Because the market went nuts because we was all using them too. So I've been looking for sales and clearances. I'm giving you I'm showing you in the speaker energy, okay? So I was looking for sales, and I was and the universe will always get you what you need if you need it. And so it's like, okay, should I be quitting? Am I just supposed to quit? But then I'd always find one for like $5, or somebody'd end up handing me, 10 or some crazy thing throughout this every time I was getting ready to stop. So then I was like, okay, I just need to find the vape stores with the clearance, right? So what was happening was at night, and I didn't even realize I was doing this. My brain was basically kind of scanning inventory of systems, because when you start understanding how technology really works, how it's all connected on the internet, what the DNA is, and how that's aligned in the internet, because we wouldn't have internet if you wouldn't have ascended masters down here. That part. When you really start understanding it, then what you're doing is you're picking up on all the tech. You're picking up on all the chatter in the tech. So what happened in my waking world? It's like I didn't even realize what I was doing, but what now I understand that I was basically kind of running like a GPS locator on inventory of a vape store that has clearance numbers, has lower vape numbers, selling them for prices. And then what would happen in my world is that it'd take me off course, right? because if it's the stores around me, then I'd know where they were. But I'm not going on. So it's like my world would take me off course into a different part of town or whatever. I'm always somewhere for another reason, typically, unless sometimes every once in a while I'd get the message, go look up Blue Moon Vape. And then I'd go look up Blue Moon Vape and it'd be 15 miles away. But that very seldom happened. What would happen was I'd end up in that area for another reason. Then I'd see a vape store. Then I'd walk in. Well, every time I walked in one, they'd be kind of scattered around. There's always a big ass clearance section. And I realized that's what I was doing. The body and the brain is picking up on all this. This is how even we were able to finish the blood. Even that girl that they've got locked up in jail over here in Texas, the one that they said stole all the money about the blood type machine that didn't need blood, bullshit. That fucking thing worked. We knew exactly what they did. We knew exactly why they did it. They wanted to set her up. It did work. They set her up so it wouldn't work. I know, because in a weird fucking way, I know that every time they were testing and putting that blood in, trying to make it work after that, is somehow, and how it worked is because it worked, is somehow how us Ascended Collective got the data we needed that wasn't in a computer system anywhere. That a human had put in, is like we couldn't wait for the humans to figure it out. We were figuring it out collectively as we were undoing it. There hasn't been time for anybody to go write about it yet. It's not going to be in a book. It's not going to be, the answer's not going to be in the internet. Is it going to be a conglomeration of information in there? Oh, hell yeah. And then what type of channels is it running through? This speaker energy is also involved with speaking everything into existence, to the extent that in this speaker energy, whenever you're cleared with the blood and you're in harmony and purity in the blood and in this energy, this is how we're rewriting everybody's brains and correcting your insides for everybody right now under divine intervention for speaking it into existence. And whenever you hold this energy, then you have to be very careful what you say, who you get mad at, and da 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 da. And it is, and this is a big one. This is a big one to master, because this is a level of polarity that you realize every time I got mad at anybody for doing anything, then I was just giving them my energy, and then something bad had always fucking happened to me. So I just got done with being mad at everybody. Then I just had to make up my own little story in my head about that energy so that it wouldn't piss me off. But this is pure creator energy, and this is how we change people's destinies when we're in it. But it's why we're here. This is speak of wheat that's in the Bible. The sun's coming out of that right now, and it's going to head into Arcturus again, because speak is right in the middle. So this full moon is going to be tomorrow. What's lining up is this energy. It's going to be sun on Arcturus and moon in Andromeda, the other galaxy, basically. Kind of, you can think of it as like you can just think of Andromeda as like a 3 spheres of existence key, where 3 orbs of life in long periods of count, kind of like for the past million years. The 3 that went out in different directions in 3 different points. Now, when it hits Andromeda, those 3 are all coming together. And you can think of Andromeda as being, because I know in the end, there, and I've talked about this before, it's like there was 3 little Yodas. One sphere is going to be totally, like, just kind of like out of pure creation air. It's going to be energetics that were created out of star energy and cosmic energy, and even lines and lineages and brain connections and things like that were formed with those lines. One of them is going to hold that in a body in a pure state. The other one was attached to basically like the base root of as much as there could have been DNA from Earth civilized counts and connected into the human DNA, but in a physical field that could hold in an Andromeda space. Then what was happening over the past million years is that those two were rubbing up against each other and creating something new. And when it did, that became the galactic gate. That became the back door. That became the entrance. That only the ones that were over there, only the human race wouldn't know about it, because the human race would only be a third connected in the whole thing, even if everybody was awake. Sorry, see, we're blowing. My point is, it was something that was going on that a whole lot of people on Earth would have been aware of because of the conscious state of the human race. The other factions would have been well aware because they was all coming back to get that seed. Is my point. That's Andromeda. We also know it's Andromeda. Andromeda. It's literally like the CD-ROM. So it's like a CD-ROM of time counts that merge together those three different seed generators of timelines with all the beings and entities that are connected into their different perception that all merge down here. This is why I tell everybody there ain't nothing else out there. Where everybody's down here. Star seeds, what you thought were aliens, which are just your ancients, because of the process of what they were doing down here to us, they ended up creating all this. We wouldn't have been stuck in all these energies. We wouldn't over different time counts. We wouldn't have these 12 houses. Only reason that we have the 12 houses because the human race was stuck in that energy for that long to produce that energetic. And then the G was moved. Now do it there. Now do it there. Now do it there. Now the whole thing's moving and it's uncoiling. The whole thing's moving and it's uncoiling. And that's what we're talking about when we're talking about the G chord came out. So this full moon is lining up this energy, and so what we're feeling and what we're seeing is the expansion of that. Well, when this energy expands, it's way more thick and porous. It's going to be all the negative space going around things. If you see my finger and then all the air and all the energy that's coming through this direction, what has more? All the energy and air around it here or my finger? There's more of the energy around the air than my finger, but you're only looking at my finger. So that thick flow energy, like that thick, the unseen energy is now coming in with a force through that galactic projector, those three. But it's coming through one now, not three projections projecting one. It's one projection that's holding three projections, and it's different. This is where we talk about this massive, we've had to go through this massive expansion. This is, we're having to kind of like set up. I talk about it all the time with the wheel, and we kind of had to tie off the energy at the top. And that Libra, because we expand out, time was stretched. Now the human race has expanded out to where it was stretched to. So this is where we're at right now, and this is what Venus. This is in the collective and even your higher houses. And when we talk about the starseed mission and the plan and the high house plan and divine intervention and it's all happening. It'll happen whether I tell you about it over here or not. What we're doing is making it happen even quicker because we're all conscious that this is what's going on, and And it's showing us how the hell it happened. Mainly because the mind works so funny that, and since the mind control, because speak of energy is also really, really like past the point, like chicken. You're talking about being completely, not even just a voodoo doll. You're talking about being completely taken over energetically and controlled, your whole body and your whole reality being controlled by another power source of some sort. It's even, if you will, Mickey Mouse was kind of like the first speaking. But if you understand and you know about Mickey Mouse and Hitler and Walt Disney, that and the whole story about how Hitler kidnapped Mickey Mouse it wasn't just some little cartoon character. It's basically the character, one of the first character that could ride up and hold the energetics just by kind of creating it and bringing it to life, kind of like Pinocchio. I know it seems insane that you think that couldn't happen, but we, especially those of us who have changed and bridged time counts, because we kept changing future timelines. That's what we were sent here to do. So every time we changed a future timeline, not knowing as a collective, that's what we did. Like in 2018, when we stopped 2038 Unix boxes from blowing up. What happened from that point forward is there was two timelines that were being built. And around that time, craziest shit started happening. It's like, because you're the one who seams it all together. If you have all those ancient connections and you're the one, then you have the two that seem together. And so what ended up happening is my whole thing played out with the people that were in my reality, and then some new people came in when I was in Memphis, and then I literally introduced the parents of a 30-year-old girl that ended up showing up in my world 4 weeks later. And when she showed me a picture of her parents, I about freaking lost my cookie cutter, because it was the exact same two energies that I introduced. And then, but I was walking death. I was walking in betweens and timelines and being shown it through different beings, because it's an energy in the line. That's why they looked exactly the same. And I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. So anyway, this is why so much of this death energy, and but more so resurrection and alchemy cycles. This is why we're dealing with Arcturus, and this is their mass healing. This is being able to turn everything bad into good. And look, it's how we did it. Collective was getting our ass kicked. 2020 to 2022, we were getting our ass kicked. We had to build up armor. For those of us who were building up armor, we know exactly I mean, this little bubble that you call in and put around you isn't just some little thing that you can, that's just with your mind. No, we made the bubbles. You're existing in those bubbles because we made them, but we physically, with force and energetics from a healing collective, made freaking power wall shields on this motherfucker. But it took 3 years of getting our ass kicked to build up the energy to build the field. The only reason that we had it to build up is because we was making it. The whole time they were sending the bad energy, every single bit of bad energy that they made. I don't care if they went diddler on it or went friggin' Maria Cooker on her. whoever, every single bit of it we used for good. They just helped us finish it quicker, and their whole role was to slow it down. Well, that sounds like universal law to me. But I'm just saying all that because with art, it's like there's some things that you take for granted. That's what Arcturus is. Arcturus is the shadow piece. When you watch those movies about witches and like the true bloodlines, witches, and they do their little whatever ceremonies that they've got, whether they be druid ceremonies or whatever the f balls, right? And then the depending on what line you came from, depending on what powers you had, right? Then you would have to be shown in some way where that gift and power came from, and typically it's painful to see that, or you might have to live it. If you're going to embody that power for your collective bloodline, then you're going to have to live through a lot of pain in a lot of ways for a long time until you alchemize through it. When you do, everything changes. But my point is, you have to understand how that energy came to be so that you don't abuse it. Plus, your mind has to understand how it was made so that you know the power of it. For us in the collective, we just knew that we was getting fucked over every which way sideways, and we just didn't even know anything else but that we was just getting fucked over every which way sideways, and we just had to figure out how to protect ourselves and get our frequency straight in the middle of all of it. You can also kind of think about Arcturus in the 3D digital world as a CERN vault. Everything that was made in the digital 3D world is kind of like CERN mimicked Arcturian energy in a lot of ways. What was made in the middle of that changed the law of physics, did it not? You sure it came from the middle of CERN? Or did Spica change it? Because in a lot of ways, we feel like, well, shit, we must have been in the middle of CERN because that's exactly the 5 elements. That's the 5 dimensions. We created new physics. I'm over here telling you about it. It's what I'm teaching you, is what they just now think they discovered. No, my friends. No. You didn't just discover it. It's been in play for a really fucking long time. Right? That's freaking nuts. It really is. All this Scorpio energy playing out. We still got Mars on Sirius C, and that's in the soul. I mean, I'm telling you right now is when this is 411. It's like right. This is kind of harvest season. This is as a and I was talking when I was doing that Libra video the last time I did this. Whenever the sun, we were talking about Izar. Remember, because the sun's going to go through Arcturus right here, and then it's going to hit Izar. And remember that video where I was talking about Izar being this long stretch, and then it's like we were coming out of Spica, and we were jumping kind of like bugs on a windshield, like free falling from here to here. We're jumping because this Izar thing was in that draconic line, and we outclaimed it, and then it kind of like just pushes, kind of like a sifter through Scorpio, because it's connected over here. It's like this energy, this new energy in the draconic connects 27 degrees of Libra over into the beginning of Sagittarius in one energetic, and kind of is running Scorpio and to its will, basically is what's happening now. Well, 27 degrees of Libra is opposite what, which is what astronomy is all about, the opposition, is 27 degrees is the end of Andromeda. Andromeda is at 25 degrees. That's where this full moon's going to be. So, but as a collective right now, because remember that was the Venus transit when I was charting it. Venus is all the way, and I came on here and I told you about it. So we wrote it then, right? Yes. And now where's Venus finishing it up? Venus is finishing up doing exactly what it is I told you that was happening, but now we're experiencing it because now the sun's on it. So it's like everybody that's still in this sequence, it's like if it's holding your toe in it or whatever whatever, it's like okay, we can't stay here, it sucks, I wish we could, but we've got to jump. We just, bonsai, I hope Chastity is right. We're all going to be jumping on Izar, but we got to go through the whirlpool first. But it's really like that energy lines up from Spica to Izar first, so that you, cause then it holds this cylinder to the spiral. It's really whirlpool energy. Whirlpool energy. I even with Leo, we're finishing up all the designs for all the houses, and with Leo, we ended up designing, like, it looks kind of like a digital whirlpool, and Leo across from Aquarius, and Aquarius is a big kind of like hypnotic dance that creates like that hypnotic watch the like like from the old 70s game show with the tie that hypnotizes you. It really it's that, but in the bottom houses it really is a whirlpool, and we're dealing with like the whirlpool galaxy and areas of space that we're kind of pulling the collective through in a lot of ways because of the size that we are within the collective body, because we're still kind of small. We're gigantic. Okay, don't get me wrong. We're gigantic from Earth perspective or any type of mission perspective down here. But from a big cosmic perspective, we're still a little baby, because honk, because until more get in aligned and this energetic lines up and everybody kind of starts taking their places, which is what these next 7 years are going to be about. And so whenever you go land and you jump on this Izar pole, what's going to be playing out for everybody, and even those of us who cleared it, it'll be showing up in different ways now. What's going to be playing up for everybody for the next 2 to 3 years, because it's gonna take 2 to 3 years of cycles, but we're all working together now in an expanded field with everything blended together, building new sequences. You're only seeing things from the past to show you something about what's coming in the future, but what to be aware of, or what to watch out for, or what to align or not align, or whatever. It's just showing you to remind you something, where we're heading. That because it's going to be clearing these, because everybody down here wasn't clearing all the way up to the top of the DNA lines. That was the hybridization. You were being blocked from finishing. I, please hear, I hope that statement right there really bundles it all up. That's why the AB negative thing, and it's why so many thought that for the longest time I was coming and stealing all your powers for something. No, honey, we had to use your power in order to get the power above you, to get the power above you, in order to freaking pull this off so that we could even give it back to you. Problem is, we can't give it back to you now the way that we took it, because it's all cleaned up and different. But it's yours. So knowing the difference is what quantum jumps you. That's the same thing right now, even with our twins and anything that took our money throughout this. This is what we've been talking about too. What I'm getting right now is it in a backwards way from us feminine, or if you feel like you lost money that was sent out, especially in 2020 and 2021, remember, we were clearing different time counts. You were sending out money in different time counts. So if you sent out 10,000, you might have sent it out in 1920. That was an investment that was in 1920 and part of a freaking massive thing. Are you going to see all the money now? No, they're not going to. Maybe some of it depends on how deep it is. However, you still have the power of it. It might not be that the AT&T is going to turn around and freaking give us all checks for using our energy and frying our brains, but we have the power of the internet and the power of the whole telecom connections in order to change the freaking radical course of the human race through it, because they owe us Arcturian energy. The more that they did to you, the more power you have to change it. That's why us starseeds fucking let them do it to us. I know there's going to be a lot of things that when I hang up this video, I'm going to go, because I was sitting there thinking, okay, what am I going to release? Do I need to do a video? Blah, 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 blah. And so much was rushing through my brain because it was happening for us. It's showing up in our brand. Things are connecting. People are connecting. They're coming in. Y'all are ordering charts. Thank you. Thank you. We're getting a new balance with that. Where we know that we're starting to use some of these AI things, but we're having to do it as a team. We're having to do it as a large group. We're going to probably end up setting up a Marco Polo. And I've got people and start training for those of you who want to start offering and utilizing the Cohu 32 and want to learn it more deeply. There's going to be avenues for y'all to get connected and just to show y'all the power of the technology through the healing in an experience, because it's what it is. You really can't. Now take a deep breath and listen to what I'm telling you. You really can't come out of a complete mind control body takeover of the human race where you didn't even realize the human race was projecting it all until you witness it. You start witnessing it in some way. You start witnessing the power that you have. You start witnessing it by making commands and seeing it change. You start witnessing it by the energetics that are around you and what you're able to do. But you are energetically shift, or your timeline shift, or your blanket went missing. Where'd the blanket go? Is it another timeline? You go back and it's there. Stuff like that. Like you literally have to witness it, because your energetic is finally coming up to a stage that it can see it. Whenever you do it in an experience together with a group like Coco Polo, Marco Polo, even your Telegram groups, except for they don't have a voice. It's different. You're not showing up and talking and being a part of it and adding your energetic into the experience. You're only, on this YouTube, you're only seeing me. It's different. What you're doing is you're creating a smaller field for everything to work out and unravel without freaking it creates like a vacuum of it that everybody's on. It kind of starts that you heal together, but it creates a smaller bubble so that you can see the variance instead of like the whole entire cosmos and the whole world. I hope that makes sense. Whenever you do group meditations and you have groups of any part that are getting together, even the people that are going to yoga every freaking day, and y'all know each other, like everybody you're building up a bubble. If you're the one that's going, then freaking take control of that energetic of that bubble. Say, hey, I asked for the highest energy and the most conscious of my yoga team. I'm gonna do it right now. All yoga studios across the entire planet, since they're using the sigils. I now, with Buddha and Christ merged in a Waisak energy, we command that the highest conscious that's bringing the most to the highest timeline in each yoga studio be gifted the power of that right now, of the entire power of those different yoga studios. And we ask for nature to play out if there's any manipulation that was going on there, for it to be seen, or new partnerships to form in order to start now wielding that energy in a higher conscious form that helps more. And so it is. We also made the command on IC. Your IC is your mastery. Your IC is what holds the root to your chart. It's kind of like you're the seed that produces a stem from an IC. Well, we command all draconic to drop your ICs. We command all Masonic to drop all your ICs, and especially in the United States of America, and all seeds that had to end up here because of the way that this thing ended up at the end of days and trapped in the United States of America. Because of our IC connections, we cut it all from every politics and politician that ever fucking existed. And so it is. Ooh, what time is it? 4:23. Yeah, 4:23. I command that energy to attach to 423 and spin Chase and Bank of America and Kroger, Racetrack and CVS. I think those were the two. Those were the two big ones. Those were the two big ones that we called in. The moon right now is in notice 2 energy, which is why all of this is even coming in. You know, and so in my world too. So the brand's expanding, and it's like because we know how big it is, and you know, and how powerful it is, and how it's connected to so much. And we're finally going to be able to start showing you guys more of how this plays out in your daily life, because that's the point. Like, I just want everyone to realize who is watching and that's picking up on these energies, and I want everyone to realize that this is all the mystery schools of the entire world jumbled in, all the unseen that happened from when that star connection happened way out there, all the way down to its root on how it went through the earth plane at any point in time, even if it went through and came out the other end, is connected in these energetics. This is why you have to kind of start reading it from a macro star perspective as an energy, and kind of start figuring out how it played in your life before you're really gonna get it. Plus, you feel like you're not getting it, but every single one that comes that says I don't get it, I didn't get it, I didn't get it, it might be a month, it might be 3 months. One of them even took more than a year, but then they send me an email and it's like all of a sudden it all clicked in, and it's something, and it everything made sense. It's an energetic, it's going to happen all at once. And my job, you know, is to recognize that my energy is so high because I've had to master so much of this, and I know so much that my challenge is getting it into smaller pieces, smaller pieces, smaller pieces. It's what we've been doing over here for 8 years, all the way to where I can bring it to you now with color and sound. So I literally can't break it down anymore, and I would fail everybody if I did, because the high frequency information, and how I've been able to understand it connected to everybody's brains, because I mean it's how it worked down here. It is what continues to open your energy up so that you can start witnessing and seeing the pieces as we make these commands and move, because it slowly starts expanding. It's my job to find beings that are aligned with me, that are set to do it, that we're all energetically set to do it, to be able to then understand the information enough to come tell you their version of it, because different people talking about different ones of us talking about these different and talking about this same thing is going to give you different levels of the information, and you're going to resonate to different ones saying it in their own way, because they're going to have their, but it's the same message. And really, the Matrix has done this to us. The Matrix has already done this to us. Your whole Matrix, your NFL, your cartoons, every single color logo, FedEx, ExxonMobil, New England Patriots, Dallas Stars, every single logo, all the lights, the blue lights, the red lights, all the blinking lights, the mind control lights, the patterns, all the crown molding designs, the different waves, I mean, all of it, all of it, all of it. All of it was given to you and you didn't know about it. That's what locked you in it. as a human, we want to know it all at once. It's like we want to, and what I also want to, this is even designed, and the reason that we've had to hold off with the book and hold off for different things was for a reason. Everybody needed to be ready because in, as a human race, to even hold it. I mean, realize that we're the ones of us that are activating. Those of you that are getting aligned right now in October 2024, you're involved with our cosmic, kind of like our own cosmic net system that we had to. We're all getting together, getting ready to hold what's coming in. Because if we don't, if we're not all linked together, it's going to drown us. It's going to snow. It's going to bury you. It's going to land on top of you, and you're going to have to energetically come out of a cave. It's really amazing how it all happens. Like everybody just comes in on a cue, and then whenever I look at the charts, I'm like, "Yep, that's the pieces I need." Okay, cool. One of the girls on Norma Jean's team, that's one I think I'm going to do tonight. I had to wait till tomorrow. Then two more ordered charts today, and as soon as they did, I was like, "Okay, that's what I was waiting for." I knew that when I did her chart, something about it, which I don't know what it is yet, that I needed those other two. There were two more I was waiting for to come in that was going to hold it. Because as soon as I do that one, I'm going to open those two. That energy is going to boom. It's how it was made to do. It's how even y'all come into me to do astronomy. It's how you end up in a healing group. Because you've met in another timeline in some way, whether it be in the dreams in the new timelines or it was underneath the cave and in a scene timeline. That's where it started. I don't know. Different ones are going to have different perspectives or both. Jupiter is still in this Bellatrix energy. This is why this is all changing the AI current. It's changing the matrix current. It's changing you in that current. Because really what we're doing is rebirthing a body that can hold. This is why Isaiah always turned to light. Isaiah didn't finish this process. The body could not hold the amount of power and cause whenever you connect to, exactly. When you connect to olive and the body would explode. You turn to light. But then it would just go up another dimension. Then all these people would live off of it. And then this energy would come back down under a next processional being. And then they're even more powerful because they're attached to everybody whenever they turn to light. But they weren't even here anymore. Well, the process that we're going through right now is energetically all these things, even artificial intelligence, even technology, because the energy it creates in space creates energetics and kind of supercharges everything, is how we're even developing the new codes, Alpha Draconic Notice 2. This where the moon is leaving right now, the notice 2 degrees, all of us as an etheric collective having the power and the connections and had to prove that we could and prove that we were doing it for the collective and prove that I mean, because we didn't come down here to get rich. We came down here to do this because we knew as long as we reset the human DNA and the matrix was set on the human DNA the way it should be, then everybody can be a gazillionaire. And that's what we did. There's a bird. But our bodies are going through that transmutation process right now with this, like it's in Jupiter right now. It's all being maneuvered. It's all being maneuvered around. It's kind of like what one of the things that I've been commanding is, all my ancestor lines that ever walked down here in any DNA line that I ever cleared or touched. I ask for those timelines to be made available to me and all the knowledge of them to come in regarding the brand and what we're doing over here. Don't forget to call in stuff like that. Because energetically it's like your line, if you're like me and you know that you're fixing to, in 2012 I should have been Elon Musk already. I mean, that's what basically it was like my whole life was building me up in order to run something big. I ran in the middle of it. I had to drop it all, shed it all, become nothing. And the hardest part for me with this transition that's happening right now is that in my world, I didn't even have a ton of money. To a lot you would call me rich if you've never made 300,000 a year. But I mean, I wasn't rich. I had a big house. I was, Target. I was as fast as the money came in, I was keeping up. So, but my my point is, all the money created my problems. So when everything happened, and I activated, and I had to get rid of everything and go to even zero out was a part of this for a lot of us, meaning zero out. You couldn't own anything. You were jumping dimensions and changing totally who you were. You couldn't have an insurance policy, like you couldn't have shit in your fucking name, not a dollar. There was a we had to zero out so many times and so many different energetic accounts in order to change it. Okay. So, but now that it's all, but I know that that's what's coming in. I know that I'm going to be building again. But me, it's like, Jesus Lord, like it's scary. It's a lot easier to lose something when you don't have anything. Whenever you have things and you lose it, it hurts a lot more, does it not? Us as a collective, like we just like let's just look at it and honor it right now and realize that that even money, it's like through this process you find out what money really is. And whenever you find out what money really is, then it's like your energy repels it. And it's a part of the process. It is, because you have to repel it in order to get out of that energetic, in order to fully get into a higher energy. But we're here to change. That's why we were here. We are the money makers. We are the king makers. We are the ones who clean the current. We are the ones who produce the current. We're the ones they trapped in bit. That's what they were mining for. Boo, motherfuckers, turn around. But in our mind, it's like, and then it's almost like it's such a mind fuck that creates them getting richer. Like, just this in and of itself creates this whole Rothschild weird ass shit. That's what's so mind fuck about it when the collective's doing it, because the collective is, that's energetically, all this shit that we're doing all at once is creating these freaking elite motherfuckers that we all hate. But in essence, we're the ones creating them. And it's a process. It ain't just gonna happen all at once. I know whenever I first went back into a bank, oh my God, it's like I had to have like a spiritual committee around me in order to even walk back into a bank facility after everything, because we always were the money. And we had traumatic experiences coming through this, that we knew we were kidnapped. I mean, because this is where the Morgans and the Morgan and getting kidnapped in the different lines, and the Mason mothers, and because no, what you're learning now is what happened to the ones who were sacrificed. Because being sacrificed is the start. It ain't the end of whoever's on the table. This is the manifestation of pure intention we're talking about whenever we're dealing with Spica and Scorpio 1 and Scorpio 2, Venus, Mercury, and freaking the sun. What? I mean, the way they were able to stack it and manipulate it, this is why you couldn't see it. But you can't, it's like the Diddy parties, for instance. Not everybody that went to a Diddy party knew all this shit, no way. But they want you to think that. That's why they had them there. They also want you to talk about it. They want you to keep talking about it. They want you to see the caves. They want you to see how far they go. They want to tell you all about it now. Why? So you'll create it for them, create more of them, trap yourself in it. What else is coming up is the patent. Michelle found patent today about cryptocurrency and the human energy field and the patent that's on it and what they're really mining for. But it really is an etheric body, just like I've been screaming. And what have I been saying? Bitcoin is blood. The problem is not Bitcoin. Problem is you're not telling the collective what it is. And then you're not allowing the collective to make decisions with their own energetics. You can't harvest everybody's energy and then not tell them and expect to be able to control it in a full on ascension of the human race. Not whenever we completed it. Now I said all that to let y'all know that what's going to happen over these next 2 years too is a process that most of y'all did not walk, that I had the honor to walk. I did, is ass kicking as a motherfucker, and I don't want to do it again, but I did have the honor of walking it through a lot of death cycles, because I was literally made to walk this 0 point energy and speak and connect deaths to make a story. And what I learned doing it from nothing and having to walk through the wheel, completing it these first 7 years for the collective in order to even build etherics, because realize that the etherics of what you'd consider heaven that were built up in these bloodlines all fell into itself, because heaven really did fall into hell. So, as a collective, what we've been doing for 7 years is you were breaking your curses, dealing with your, because it all has to be done in the physical. You can't just do it in the, I mean, it has to play out in the physical. That's why it takes 7 years. For all of us were breaking all of these commands and curses and codes and da 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 da, and then all of that was going up into what you'd consider these higher timelines. But what the human race was not taught on purpose, that the divine feminine in the Egyptian teaching schools and all of the goddess information, that's a whole nother piece to spirituality that nobody was touching down here. In fact, the whole thing was set up in order to take this part from you. It's claiming it. Now, the new timelines are set, so this old heaven wouldn't have worked anyway, because we was hybridized and it wouldn't have worked anyway. So what it gave us an opportunity to do is build these energetics to get out of, okay, in layers. It's all Cohu 32. It's a big piece of space. It ain't just some, I know we're looking like this, but it's a big piece of space that you're connecting into in various forms as you're coming out, because you have the seed inside of you. You have the connection. You're just building it back up in your etheric. And then, whenever you're in one of these waves, when you first get in the wave, you are the new kid on the block, even if you're the one who made the fucking wave. When you first arrive, you are the new kid on the block. It's a new energetic. You're no longer looking up and down, you're looking side to side, because energetically there's already beings and people that have embodied that are in those different things. Some you're coming in different energies. These are the different level ups. When you get to a certain point in that level up, because you're being tested on how you're holding it, are you freaking out, are you holding it down, are you doing whatever it's happening in your own little world as you're mastering whatever it is, the energetic that you just came into, then there's a point where then there's a claiming process. And what happens is it's like a cosmic energy, and because you've got everybody, that's because right now it's like a whole bunch of new beings are popping into all these layers, and they're having to kind of gel out, okay, and then you have some that are forming, that are coming to the top, because most people just sit down. And then those of us who are connected in between in these bridges, it's like we just keep stacking and building. There's one message that's going to go out to everybody. It'll be a message, you'll hear it in your consciousness. It'll be like, go to the store. Go to the store right now. Go to 7-Eleven right now. Go, or it'll have you plan it out that you're supposed to go somewhere. And it's a big deal what you wear. You'll know it's one of these whenever you change your clothes like 5 times, or all of a sudden you have to braid your hair, or you've got to, you leave looking like Anastasia and you don't know why. Like what you wear is one, because there'll be some trainings on this that we'll talk about, but what you wear is one of the things, because it's, did you get the invitation? So did you leave? Did you get the invitation? Did you hear the call that went out? Did you make the action? Did you go? What were you wearing when you got there? Because these ancient lines and the hybridized ones especially that are hooked in with all the creative fashion designers, you're talking about all the fashion designer families, all of them, because there's one line. Those are the ones that are connected into the bigger royal lines, because that's where the creativity originally came from certain Tudor line connections that came, before that, because everything got kind of crazy after Medici and all that. So, like, what you end up wearing, or how you braided your hair, or are you remembered to put grandma's hummingbird pin on your purse, like, and you might not meet anybody, you might not physically meet somebody when you go, maybe you do, and whenever you do, it's always, you'll know that that's what's going on. But what's happening all over the world when those calls go out is that energetic is looking at everybody that is showing up. So it's a big eyeball across the world that sent out a message. It's looking to see every one of us that heard it, and then the ones that show up, it zeroes in on you a little bit more. It's like, okay, oh my God, okay, they got the call, but this is where did they go? Where did they line up? That gives them extra information. Then what were you wearing? Oh my God, she braided her hair like the Indian fucking princess, and that's that weird ass braid that we haven't seen since the 1600s. There she is. You might not meet anybody. You might just go home, and then the next day you get a headache or you get some type of upgrade, because that's what happened. You just proved your line. Then you get a massive fucking download. Now, in your little orb of in between, you're shooting up. Now you're shooting up, and it's like you're seeing who's connected to you as you build up. Because remember, you're going to pop out of that one too at some point, and then come into another one for sure. So the claiming part, especially in a wide open internet grid with mass communication, and especially with the fact that, we're giving you these subliminal colors, like this is like your angels and your ancestors giving you as much fucking information as you can, down to color and numbers, so that you don't miss your appointment. And with Jupiter and Bellatrix, it's what it is. Because in order to reset that tabernacle, it's like we need to have the leaders in their place. But pay attention, that this started for me in 2018, and it really was the amazing race. It was a race. And this is even like Indian families and Kabbalah people. Freaking, this is why they train and studied, so that they could, and that's pretty much who I was racing for a while. In my world, I was just freaking hearing go to the Kroger, do donuts around the Kroger. I get there and there's an Indian woman doing them too. Then I look up and there's a Smith, a Matrix Smith, backed up watching us with the clipboard, writing down license plates to see who showed up to do it. Then, right after that, I had to do a weird little claiming thing over at Panera Bread. That was another day of festivities with all this, because I had to prove that I was sent there. And, like, energetically, I had to prove that I was the dominant line. It wasn't some shit I learned in a Kabbalah book that had been set up on some ums. But literally, that's what happened. That's how it works. Each one that you build up, you're building it up. That also creates these layers of protection that you have, because it's gonna, there might feel like at some point your protection came off, but it's not what it is. You just popped the blister. Now you feel it a little bit more. You got to, that's that Arcturian energy. You got to see how that blister got there. Blister's there to show you you shouldn't be wearing those damn Jimmy Choos. What are you doing? You know strappy shoes in a casino are not the thing. Why do you keep doing that? Especially I mean, if you'd been doing it, if you was doing it every day like you used to back when you were 20, you'd be able to do it. But see, that's the blister shows up to show you stop wearing those damn shoes. That pinky toe's pissed. The blister's gonna last until it pops. You're fine until the blister pops, right? Blister pops, you're like, oh, fuck this. I'm going barefoot. There is no germs. All of a sudden in the world, you don't care. That blister's there for a reason. It's showing you why it got there. Same things happening with all your gifts. It's like a little bitty black backup blister. And each one of us even have these little tells that we do. Like every single one of y'all, when I come to when you're finally like completely coming out of your energy field, you know, it's like I'll show up around you in your world. You'll meet me. You'll come. You know, you'll get introduced to me, whatever. Because this is kind of like my specialty. Your energy, and all I'm doing is mirroring back your power. I'm literally just mirroring your. I can see it all. Like I have all the keys, so I can. So it's like when we're working 101 and we do command together, and I just met you, and we're still energetically merging. Then all I'm doing is mirroring your power to you and magnifying it in order to make that command come true. When we do it together and then it's magnified and it cuts and you see, oh shit, we just did that. And look how, and this is where it happened. It happened, I don't know, it happened on a national level, it happened on a cosmic level, did it happen, like, I don't know. Like it shows us, me and the other person, what our power changed, right? But it's you, it's your power. As a healer, it's like that's why I have information now about kind of that power and that energetic, because now I can do it because I taught it. I just showed you and reminded you your power. It's why I have so many powers now. If I wouldn't have been doing healings and working with all of you one-on-one and traveling all around the United States with the different families and doing all that I did, I wouldn't have any power. Not one gift to give. So that's just, you know, I'm just kind of reminding everybody all these different layers to this process. All right, I'm gonna sign off. It's 4:51. I love you guys. Thank you for ordering the charts, cohu32.com. If you want to get a digi chart and find out your colors. And then we're almost done with House of Kochi. We're really freaking excited. We've got 2 more houses. I mean, I'm by the end of October, but I'm thinking it'll be next week. We should have that stuff up on Etsy, but for sure by the end of October. And cards coming out soon after. Okay, bye.